Daily Expresso exclusive, we can reveal that a prominent politician has received death threats and has even had their home targeted. Politics is now more divisive than it's ever been.
The whole temperature needs to come down a bit.
Front door tagged with graffiti and death threats sent to her. This is both sickening and terrifying. So, who is this politician? The person we're talking about today is Hello and welcome to today's Daily Expresso. I'm JJ Anisiobi and I'm joined, as always, by James Walker, Associate Editor of The Express. Now, in yet another Daily Expresso exclusive, we can reveal that a prominent politician has received death threats and has even had their home targeted. So, who is this politician? Well, I'll tell you this much, they're from Reform. You're probably thinking it's Nigel Farage, and it's true, Farage actually does receive many death threats a week. It's kind of crazy. He doesn't have security provided for him by government at this point. But actually, the person we're talking about today is the Reform candidate for London Mayor, Laila Cunningham. So, James, I'll just explain briefly what has happened to Laila. I've spoken to sources from Reform, two people around Laila, and what they've told me is that in recent days, and this is both sickening and terrifying. In recent days, she's had her front door of her home tagged with abusive graffiti, which, as you can imagine, is especially terrifying because someone has found her address and has likely leaked it to other like-minded individuals. She's also received death threats. We can't go into too many details about the suspected murder of Anne Widdecombe, but the death threat that Laila has received is essentially insinuating that Laila Cunningham will be the next.
Right.
Which is just disgusting, abhorrent, and for Laila Cunningham, absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, I can't imagine what's going through her head, right? Because you also mentioned she's got family in that house as well.
Right.
And
yeah, children live with her.
I mean, can you imagine, JJ, people seeing you saying something on this podcast and then doing the same to your... I mean, you'd be terrified, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely terrified. How have we gotten to this point?
How have we gotten to this point? Politics is now more divisive than it's ever been. People can't seem to disagree agreeably anymore. It's a case of if you support Nigel Farage, for example, then you have to support and defend every single thing he does. You can't have any quarrel with anything that he says, and you're a bad person. If you support Rupert Lowe, if you say there's one, okay, I don't like 99% of the things that Rupert Lowe says, but the 1% of things that he says that I agree with. Well, to some people on the left, no, you're the devil. Then you are the devil incarnate, and you're evil, you're racist, you're this, you're that. And similarly, if I'm honest, I don't see it as much the other way. I do see it more so people from the left condemning anyone who supports anyone from the right. When I was growing up, supporting the Tories was the worst possible thing you could do in a working class area. Whereas now the Tories they've been outrighted by other parties. But that's how I've gotten to this point, is that politics has become divisive.
There's all these stupid comments people make, like you say, particularly from the left, calling people who hold normal conservative opinions what would have been completely standard in the 80s, frankly, even the 90s. They call them fascists, Nazis. And, what do we do to the Nazis? How do we respond to the Nazis? Well, we killed them. Yeah. Right? We threatened them. It's war. Right? When you start calling normal right-wingers Nazis, it's essentially just like a declaration of, well, anything goes. Right? That's the insinuation. So it's incredibly sad what's happened to Laila Cunningham. Super sad. I mean, obviously, Zia Youssef has said, I think we spoke about this before we came in, Zia Youssef said that, all political figures, no matter the cost, should have some form of protection. And I think there's a lot to that, to be honest. It's in America, I mean, have you ever been to the House in America?
No, never been.
Right, if you go there and you see a politician walking around, they've got people around, there's security everywhere. Right, it's completely secure. You're not going to see someone like an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in America just schlepping it on the metro line in New York without protection. Yeah, right. She's going to have protection. It's a basic protection of democracy to allow people to have opinions and not be threatened, essentially, and to protect their life and protect their ability to represent the people that they were elected by.
I think Yusuf has a good point about providing protection for every political figure, but I think in the same way that we have Ravek, who decides on the threat levels and who gets to have armed security, I think there are some politicians who are naturally more divisive and are going to need more protection and are more likely to be attacked than others. So when you mentioned AOC from America, she is quite provocative on the left.
Yeah.
Ken Livingstone, when he was mayor of London, he used to ride on the subway. Sorry, gone American. Ken Livingstone used to ride on the underground, on the tube all the time. Bojo used to cycle around without protection back when he was mayor, not obviously when he was prime minister. But some politicians are more at risk than others. So I think maybe there's some way of having a board or a panel who can assess the level of threats. And if you're getting a death threat, then certainly you should be having security.
Certainly without a second thought, right? And like you say, they could weigh it on perhaps prominence. I mean, if you're in a shadow cabinet or very senior in a major party with a lot of high polling numbers, high reform, you should probably be getting protection. Yeah. Right? And it's interesting you say, obviously, that Ken Livingstone used to ride around on the tube and Boris on his bike, unimpeded, very little in the way of security threats. It does say a lot, isn't it, JJ, about how times have changed. Because Boris Johnson wasn't completely uncontroversial, if I remember rightly.
No,
I was a bit younger, but when he was London mayor, there were people who definitely didn't like him. But it took the form of people turning up to his random events with placards saying you're an idiot, and he'd turn around and go, "Ooh, you bloody liberal," blah, blah, blah. And that'd be about the sum of it, right? There was nothing really in the way of violence or threats or.
No,
he could so much so that he was security team, and obviously we know what these security teams are like. They're very, very cautious for obvious reasons, and even they were probably telling him it's fine, go around on your bike, it's okay. And to Ken Livingstone, it's okay, you can go on the tube, even though he's like totemic lefty. And there'll be some people who'd have a real issue with him. It was never back then to the extent of, I have such an issue with your politics, I am willing to be violent towards you.
Precisely.
And it is insane, and I think there's some of it on there. What I don't like is you do see some language on the right, and I think you're right to say that it is predominantly the left. This sort of behaviour comes from, in terms of saying that people are beyond the pale and they're fascists or whatever. I do dislike some of the language I'm starting to see on some people on the right online, where they're sort of saying, these guys are going to be the death of the West, they're traitors. Again, let's just chill out. Like, it's politics. It's politics. You should be able to be friends with, date, whatever, people of any sort of political background. Obviously, we all have our red lines. Right? If you're an actual Nazi, again, that's not cool. Like, that's not cool.
Thanks for clearing that up, James.
Yeah, just to make that clear.
Everything is digital now, isn't it? Your money, your photos, even your loyalty card at the coffee shop. So there's something quietly brilliant about owning one thing that isn't on a screen. Real gold bullion. The weight of it, the shine, it's just a lovely thing to hold. The Pure Gold Company, which was voted the UK's best gold broker, makes owning physical gold really simple. Tax-free gold coins from the Royal Mint with friendly one-to-one guidance from your first question to final delivery. There's no jargon, no pressure, no call centre queues. It's insured to your door or stored in a secure professional vault. So visit the Pure Gold Company today and tell them JJ sent you.
But yeah, the whole temperature needs to come down a bit.
Absolutely.
Really? I just think it's just weird. Like to make that much of an issue of someone's politics.
And the long-term cost of this...
It's disgusting, actually. Not even just weird.
The long-term cost of this is that we're not going to get the best people being politicians anymore.
No.
There's no way, even if with my crazy ideals, my ideology, even if I wanted to become a politician, there's no way I'd think to myself, oh yeah, that's something I'm going to actually do, because someone somewhere is going to disagree with what I'm saying. And are they then going to target me? Are they going to target my family? Are my family going to be safe walking to school in the mornings?
Yeah.
It's like, no. So what we're going to end up with is a lot of good potential politicians never stepping into the fray.
Well, this is it. I mean, there's a lot of conversations, again, in the media, elsewhere. How are we going to get the likes of major CEOs to get involved in politics? How are we going to get the sort of geniuses who start up these companies that turn into unicorns to take over and run the United Kingdom? Well, you're telling them, essentially, especially in the current environment, do you fancy packing in your multi-million-pound a year job to come work for a fraction of that amount and have your life threatened?
Yeah. And
have to have security, and you can't do basic things anymore, like take the tube, or you have to be driven everywhere, and that takes, like, I mean, it sounds silly and like a silly thing to complain about, but You know, if you can't take the tube, especially if you live in London, you go around London, it takes another hour to get anywhere.
At least.
And you know, it seriously interferes with your life. If people are threatening your life as a politician, it does seriously interfere. Same goes for journalists and stuff as well, right? I mean, journalists get these kind of threats as well. Really, anyone in public life who is contributing to debate in a democratic, fair way, they should have some sort of form of protection. And frankly, we should all just take the temperature down a bit.
I mean, yeah, even me, I don't think I'm that controversial of a figure in journalism. I really don't. I'm not that way inclined. But even I get stopped by people in the street who are angry at me either saying too much about Harry and Meghan or not saying enough about Harry and Meghan. And it's like, thankfully no one's been violent to me, but they are quite aggressive, you know? Like, I don't like what you said about Harry the other day. It's like, okay, cool. Have a good day, mate. See ya.
Okay, on your day.
Yeah.
Weirdo.
Very strange. But James, can we ever get back to a point where politics isn't so black and white? Or is the genie out the bottle now?
It's a bit out of the bottle, isn't it? It's history shows it's very difficult to get it back in. It's possible. It is possible. Hopefully, with change of the guard, new leadership, I think, to be honest, once the country's run a bit better, hopefully some of the sort of oxygen gets sucked up. Well, there's a bit more oxygen in the room. Everyone can kind of breathe a bit more easily and kind of relax. But as long as the country keeps being run terribly, as long as there's these huge divisions that emerge from that, I mean, you see it in places even like Germany now, right? You're seeing more extreme parties emerging, more extreme language in politics. You're going to see the same elsewhere. Because things run so poorly, people want to find something really new. And then further apart people get in their politics, the more room there is for tension. Hopefully there's a way through, right? Hopefully there's a way through. So with this Laila story, do you know what's happened since? So they've obviously found this stuff.
Yeah, so as I said, her front door tagged with graffiti and death threats sent to her. I don't know any more than that. She's spoken, I believe she's spoken to the police, and it's now over to them. But yeah, I mean, we saw Laila Cunningham at CPAC last week, and she was one of the few people who did have security with her. Actually, when she was walking through the auditorium, there was security with her. Now, I mean, Liz Truss didn't even have security. Well, not that we could, not visible security. You know, she had her PA or assistant, whatever his name is. He was beside her, but no actual security with the earpiece in. No. But Laila did have that, which tells you how serious they're taking it. Yeah,
exactly. They're taking it super serious, and she's been on the podcast before. She's very nice.
Yep, she's a friend of the show.
So yeah, I hope she's okay.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, James, and thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, leave your comments below, and don't forget to press the hype button. Bye-bye. Right, a quick pause in the podcast to tell you about our sponsor, Incogni. You had those phone calls from numbers you don't recognize, or you go in your inbox and there's emails for stuff you did not sign up for. Well, that's because someone somewhere is selling your private information. That's where today's sponsor comes in, Incogni. They will contact these people who have been taking your information, and they'll say, oi, stop, delete it. Go to the website, incogni.com. You type in the details. 2 minutes later, Incogni are sorting it out for you automatically. And because I love you, I've got you a discount. It ain't 10%, it ain't 20, 60% off. 60% off an annual Incogni plan. Just go to incogni.com/Daily Expresso or click the link in the episode description box below.